The following is a podcast from a qualified senior care provider heard on the Answers for Elders radio show.
And welcome everyone to Answers for Elders radio network. And I am so thrilled to be able to launch this brand new program that we are starting this month. And that is a program called the Vitality Revolution. It's how to think about your wellness principles, the 8 foundational principles of wellness. And each month here on Answers for Elders, we're going to be focusing on 2 of the 8 foundational principles. And this month will be on physical and emotional wellness. And I am so proud on behalf of our gold sponsor, Humana, to present to each and every one of you my friend, an amazing human being, Lori Hudson. Lori, welcome to Answers for Elders.
Well, thank you, Suzanne. I'm so delighted to be here and excited to talk about some of these really important topics for our senior community.
Well, and Lori, what's interesting is I remember, because I'm giving my age out to always, but I remember when I was going through the whole thing of I'm getting all these emails, I'm getting all these letters, all these postcards, everything. And when you turn 65, there's this daunting thing that happens. All of a sudden you're entering a new world. And then there's the difference between the part A, B, C, D, Medicare. What does that mean? But the bottom line is we've talked a lot about what do the different, functions of Medicare mean? But in the wellness side, I don't think we spent enough time. And so I am so thrilled to talk about preventative things that we start off with for physical wellness. And I know you have a personal story, how you just got involved in this. And a lot of it has to do with understanding about prevention. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And, I noticed too that in my work, I find that a lot of the people that I work with, like I know you, Suzanne, have worked with your family members. Mm-hmm. And I think with a lot of us that really have a heart for this work that we're doing, it starts with some background or family member. And I grew up on a farm, and my dad was out in the field morning to night. And I am not exaggerating when I say he was never sick a day in his life. I do not remember one time growing up that he was ever sick.
Amazing.
And it was amazing. The only time he ever went to the doctor was to get stitches because he cut himself on a piece of equipment or something like that. And so then when he retired, he didn't go to the doctor. And one day he got diagnosed with it was bone cancer. By the time they found it, it was prostate cancer. He had gone into bone cancer, and he went in because his leg was hurting. And then all of a sudden he found out that it was very serious at that point. And so so they were telling me, well, he doesn't have insurance. And he said, well, I know he's got this Medicare thing. And I was in my 30s, not even thinking about Medicare, and that wasn't even on my radar. And so I opened up his wallet. There was a card in there, and I said, yes, he does. He has it. He has Medicare. Well, come to find out, it was only Medicare Part A. He never took his Medicare Part B, and he was 81 years old.
Oh, my goodness sakes.
I got thrown into what I call, and it's my tagline now, I'll take you through the Medicare maze, because that's what I got thrown into with him, was the Medicare maze. And his treatment's not being covered, and we had to sign up for the Medicare. There was a waiting time. And then I had to try to decide, okay, with him, what do we do beyond just having the Medicare? And I found a lady that helped me, and I grabbed onto her like a lifeline. And so that's what really got me interested in doing what I'm doing. And then an opportunity came up a few years later, and made a career change, and here I am.
Here you are. And you've been such a talk about a lifeline. I know you've been a lifeline for my family, and certainly trying to navigate, all the different types of Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplemental. What do they mean? A lot of people don't necessarily know, but what I love about Humana, and really you represent Humana and a lot of their plans, but they are what's known as a wellness company. And so when I came to Humana with this idea of, I want to do a wellness program. I want to do a program that is absolutely something that we can get excited about vitality in life. And certainly having you as a representative and been my lifeline to make me excited about the programs that I'm able to get. I don't even think we even realize so often, what happens with that. And so I would love a little bit to talk to you a little bit about the difference between original Medicare and Medicare Advantage programs and the preventative services. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. And things are changing every year. So when I think back 20, almost 30 years ago when I was helping my dad, things are not the same now as they were then. So every year things are changing. And the Medicare Advantage plans, and I know we'll be talking about that on some upcoming podcasts that you're doing as far as the relationships with physicians and how that's all changing as well. But original Medicare has quite a few preventive services that are available. And so if you have original Medicare and a supplement, you do have quite a few preventive services available. And then the Advantage plans are through the private insurance companies. So
right.
Medicare
and that
plans,
would, when you said your dad had the Medicare card, that was what we call Part A, and that's for hospitalization, correct?
that is correct. So
if he goes to emergency room or something like that, that's what covers it. But anything that has to do with treatments, outpatient things, that's Part B. Is that correct?
It is Part B, and also if you go to the ER, that is actually Part B as well.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
So Medicare inpatient doesn't cover a whole lot. I mean, it covers your hospital, but you've got a deductible, and then everything they do while you're in the hospital, as far as tests, surgeons, anesthesiologists, all those kinds of things are billed under Part B. So the Part A covers your hospital bed, your stay there, and it covers a few other things like blood transfusion, skilled nursing is under Part A, hospice, different things.
And so Medicare Advantage, what we would say is almost kind of Part C. Is that correct?
It is called Part C. It is called Part C.
And it's called Part D, right? Because it does have a copay for medications, correct?
And there are Medicare Advantage plans that do not have Part D in there. So a lot of veterans, if people have VA, they will maybe enroll, or TRICARE for Life, they might enroll into a plan that has or does not have the prescription coverage in there because they already have that. And then the other thing is if people don't sign up for a plan, you could have late enrollment penalties later. So there's just a lot of impact. And my dad had 16 years of late enrollment penalties because he didn't enroll.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, so to enroll in a Medicare Advantage program or Medicare Supplemental, depending on which direction you go, you need to do it 3 months before or 3 months after your 65th birthday. Is that still the same?
That is for the Medicare A and B. It's the 3 months before, the month of, and then 3 months after.
Okay.
Now, a 7-month window.
If someone is on a supplemental, what is the difference between the supplemental and can they have both Medicare Advantage and supplemental?
They cannot have both at the same time.
Yeah.
They cannot. And the preventive tends to be the insurance companies. So it's a double-edged sword because the Medicare is very transactional. So you go in, you have a service, they pay it, you pay what's left over, and you just go on your way. Well, there's pros and cons to that. There's no network, so you don't have to deal with the network. But then the insurance companies on the Medicare Advantage, they tend to get more involved in your care. And sometimes people don't like that, but there's a lot of pros to that, because if the insurance company they have a financial vested interest in your outcome. So want you to be healthier. It's a win-win. You're healthier, happier, and then it saves insurance.
Yeah.
money.
And
So there's
Medicare
also-
Advantage has so many preventative type amazing benefits. And, what do you think are possible missed opportunities that our seniors don't necessarily know about in preventative measures?
I will just go over a few.
Okay.
And there are some of these go by Medicare guidelines. So whether you have a Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage, some of these will be covered. And I think a lot of people know about your general. You can go in and have a flu shot. You can have a pneumonia shot. Well, now the shingles vaccines.
Yep.
And the DPAP, the tetanus, those vaccines are all covered 100% now. That's a Medicare mandate. That's new.
That's wonderful.
So it does give opportunity for that because those injections were pretty expensive for people. So I think that's one thing that people don't realize.
And I think they also don't realize, like for Humana, you get fresh fruit and vegetables every month. That's on that. There's silver sneakers. There's a lot of things that you can get that are wellness type programs. Is that correct?
That is correct. There are those types of things which are in addition to your tests. So I always recommend to people, because of what happened to my dad, go in and get those general tests done. But there are other things. There are the things you mentioned, but then there are things like your diabetes management. So there's more to the diabetes management under preventive that a lot of people don't realize. And then cardiovascular, there's some behavioral management on that some people don't realize. Depression screening. Yeah. Another thing that sometimes people don't realize, there's a stop smoking program.
It's amazing.
That's through your preventive. And that's through
amazing.
whether you have Medicare or you have a Medicare Advantage plan. Those things are available to people. You've got your diabetes prevention programs. I think I mentioned.
Yes.
But then your cardio, and then you've got your colorectal cancer screenings, and now most of the plans are covering those at 100%, whether it's screening or it's diagnostic.
Wow, that's great. Great.
You want to keep up on. And then the other thing I want to touch on is the wellness visit, because the Advantage plans will cover a physical and a wellness visit, and there is a difference. So if you're going in and you have just original Medicare, you have a welcome to Medicare physical, and that is a one-time thing. And after that, Medicare, for some odd reason, they don't cover your physical every year, but they cover a wellness exam. So if you're going into your doctor and they're touching your body, that is not a wellness visit. That is a physical. A wellness visit is your planning session. So all these things that I talked about and then some, they'll talk to you about, well, when did you have your last colon screening? When did you have a bone density test? Have you had your vaccines? What's the plan for next year? Do you need the diabetes management program? Those types of things. That's your wellness visit. So you're not actually touching you. When you go in, they're looking in your ears, nose, all that kind of thing. That's a physical, and the Advantage plans cover that 100%. And then there's some blood work.
So Lori, if someone wants to reach out to you, how do they do so? And what area do you cover?
I am licensed in the state of Washington, and I know you're national, so I am not able to assist people that are out of state on their benefits. I can answer questions. I would love to answer questions. The best way to reach me, if you're Washington State, you can always give me a call. But if you're out of state, if you go to my website, you can fill out the contact me form, and then I will put you in touch with somebody that nationally.
And what is your website address, Lori?
My website is Hudson, Hutson, insurancesolutions.com.
Fabulous. And everyone, Lori has going to be adding content throughout this 4-month period, and you're very lucky. You're going to have 4 right here. So right now, please stay tuned and go to the next podcast. We're excited to bring the vitality revolution to each and every one of our listeners. at Answers for Elders, thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.